With that, we move on to our next presenter, Mr. Gianluca Corbellini. He's from Hive Power, and he would like to present a blockchain solution for energy communities that they have a case study from Switzerland, giving value to flexibility, thereby creating local flexibility markets. Over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Gianluca Corbellini. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Hive Power, and we are a spin-off of a Swiss university in the southern part of Switzerland. I would like to make a short introduction of how we are facing a paradigm shift in Europe in particular from our use case. There are many innovations, many changes in the energy framework. In particular, we see that in the long term, the penetration of renewable will increase dramatically, mainly by solar and wind energy. We need a lot of flexibility in the grids to have a good balance in energy grids. This is the main asset in our view in the short term even. And there are new frameworks like energy communities that are emerging. This is happening globally. It started from Switzerland, so Switzerland is really a pioneer in this thing. And internally, this energy community will share energy and will give value to their own flexibility. With flexibility, I mean mainly heat pumps that we use for heating and cooling, water heating boilers, electrically powered, electric vehicles, of course, and storage batteries. To deploy this new innovation in the energy business, we need also new business models. So in particular, it could be a very simple dynamic pricing, peer-to-peer energy trading, that it's not really my favorite one, to be honest. But we really believe in local flexibility markets. So in our view, I have a very deep mathematical background, and I see the energy markets only just as a game in the mathematical meaning. And I don't see really people that are going to trade themselves, like setting up prices, or I want to buy from this neighbor, from the other one, from this platform, from this other platform. So I think we can really solve this game mathematically and set up these schemes to regulate how people will pay for energy in these communities, but in cities, in every level of the grid. Then in the future, we see it's not really something that is applicable today. Of course, there are many pilots, as we do across the globe, but to be honest, today we don't really yet need blockchain to deploy this innovation. We will face it, I think, in 5-10 years. It's something that will take longer time to be deployed. I want to be completely honest. I'm not really a sales guy. I'm just the guy that wants to sell what is our view and how we can reach this. So I think demand-side management is really the key to deploy this flexibility in the grid. It's really the big topic in Europe now. So how to deploy this flexibility at the demand side. It could be automated. It will be automated thanks to Internet of Things, maybe with smart contracts. We don't know yet. But still, we are testing this in pilot projects. So we see that there are many communication issues, there are many forecasting uncertainties, many things that are really put in this thing in the real future, not really today. So about the European context of energy communities, something that this is already in place in Switzerland, and thanks to a new law, energy law by 2018, people and companies are allowed to implement energy communities, and you can do them basically in two ways. Number one is a condominium. So in a condominium, you can share internally, typically the energy from the rooftop, from the solar rooftop, directly to the tenants, so without intermediary, without any spread between the buy and sell prices. A second case could be even with a cogenerator in the building. Is happening somewhere in Italy as well. But the second case is even more interesting, is in a small district that is physically connected in the same low voltage feeder, you can implement an energy community. This is pretty complicated to do in all the districts because you have to convince everybody that is living there to join it. And also you have to make a deal with the DSO because you're really controlling the local grid. You have to manage it, you have to do the maintenance, you're really responsible for the local grid. So what is really happening is that the DSO itself is implementing the local energy communities, even in district. Then at the European level, the European Union approved first the winter package a few years ago, and then the RED II normative that are forcing every European Union country to implement this energy community framework in their own state regulation. This is intended to happen by 2021, by the end of 2021. It is slowly happening, so I'm pretty sure that not every country will implement this new framework by that date, but things are happening. We already have some proposals for law, like in Spain, Italy, and so on. So the main thing about energy community is that it forces a sort of distributed optimization. So like Professor Schumann introduced before, we have these balancing groups, basically to balance local grids, and energy community is a kind of very small balancing group. So there is an incentive to share internally the energy to minimize the exchange from the energy community to the national grid. So basically what is really happening is that you share the energy from the solar rooftop, and you can use basically the flexibility mainly from electric vehicles and heat pumps to synchronize your loads with this local generation. On the other hand, what we are also implementing is a solution for the DSO, so for your interface just out of the community, to have dynamic pricing. So the DSO is another tool to promote beneficial energy profiles from the community. This is also an example from our pilot, our web interface. So in our pilot just out of Lugano, we are deploying this called self-consumption community. And basically the idea is to consider the self-consumption of the community itself as the real goal, not just the self-consumption of users. It includes 18 houses, a kindergarten, quite a large solar generation, electric heating boilers, heat pumps, and electric vehicles. And we also implemented a district battery that is by far more interesting than having many batteries for every solar rooftop, because it's cheaper in maintenance, in installation, and so on. We skip a little bit. Why are we using blockchain? Is mainly for the governance and the participation of communities. It is also used for the certification on the energy exchange, on forecasting and negotiation. But we see that, I mean, at least in our country, in Switzerland, there is a big trust between people, and companies. So this is not really adding a value. So we think really that governance and automated controlling of the community itself is really the value added. We have quite a complicated complex, let's say, roadmap. So we are integrated our local flexibility market with other side chain solutions. The main issue, of course, of every real blockchain application today is the scalability. So you can have a lot of, let's say, tricks to avoid it, but most of them are not really anymore a blockchain solution. So this sidechain solution, in our view, especially thanks to this Cosmos sidechain, is very promising. And we'd like to say hello to you with some few takeaways. So energy communities are emerging across Europe. They started from Switzerland, so we are very lucky to be there. They will be smart, otherwise there is no reason at all to implement them. Local flexibility market, in our view, is the key to enable more renewables, especially more solar in our cities, and also for electric vehicles. You can provide cheaper energy thanks to smart coordination. And in our view, blockchain is going to happen in the long term, and the main thing will be the interoperability between different chains, different software systems. This is really, at least my view, it's just my personal opinion, but in the energy system, in other systems, like in finance, you can do a lot of other very beautiful things, but for energy, interoperability, I think, is the real key value added to the energy system. So I'm very open for a further discussion. We are looking also for pilots or new projects in India. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Corbellini. And definitely with the moving towards smart grid, we are moving towards smart energy communities to be able to be sustainable, have sustainable communities in place. And we see blockchain playing a key role in managing between the smart communities.